Bienvenue chez Examist, votre partenaire de confiance pour réussir vos certifications. Nous proposons des supports d'études complets, en ligne et hors ligne. Et nous sommes là pour vous guider pas à chaque étape. Des guides PDF détaillés aux exercices pratiques bien structurés. Toutes les questions essentielles sont soigneusement couvertes pour vous donner toutes les chances de réussir. Vous aurez toujours les bonnes ressources à portée de main. Téléchargez les PDFs. Faites des tests et connectez-vous à notre équipe d'assistance experte. Avec la pratique interactive en ligne. Entraînez-vous et quand vous voulez. À votre rythme. Nos PDFs prêts pour l'examen sont soigneusement élaborés et régulièrement mis à jour. Des milliers d'apprenants certifiés font confiance à notre qualité et à notre sérieux. Des professionnels qualifiés sont disponibles pour répondre à vos questions. Commencez dès aujourd'hui et donnez à votre préparation l'avantage décisif avec Examist. Visitez Examist. Comme dès maintenant. Examist. Votre parcours vers le succès commence ici.
Question 1. Your team needs to make sure that a compute engine instance does not have access to the internet or to any Google apps or services. Which two settings must remain disabled to meet these requirements? Choose 2. Option A. Public IP. Option B. IP forwarding. Option C. Private Google access. Option D. Static routes. Option E. In-network user role. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Public IP. Option C. Private Google access. Question 2. Which two implied firewall rules are defined on a VPC network? Choose 2. Option A. A rule that allows all outbound connections. Option B. A rule that denies all inbound connections. Option C. A rule that blocks all inbound port 25 connections. Option D. A rule that blocks all outbound connections. Option E. A rule that allows all inbound port 80 connections. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. A rule that allows all outbound connections. Option B. A rule that denies all inbound connections. Question 3. A customer needs an alternative to storing their plain text secrets in their source code management (SCM) system. How should the customer achieve this using Google Cloud Platform? Option A. Use cloud source repositories and store secrets in Cloud SQL. Option B. Encrypt the secrets with a customer-managed encryption key (CMEK) and store them in cloud storage. Option C. Run the Cloud Data Loss Prevention API to scan the secrets and store them in Cloud SQL. Option D. Deploy the SCM to a compute engine VM with local SSDs and enable preemptible VMs. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Encrypt the secrets with a customer-managed encryption key (CMEK) and store them in cloud storage. Question 4. Your team wants to centrally manage GCP Inc. permissions from their on-premises Active Directory service. Your team wants to manage permissions by AD group membership. What should your team do to meet these requirements? Option A. Set up Cloud Directory Sync to Sync groups and set Inc. permissions on the groups. Option B. Set up SAML2.0 Single Sign-On (SSO) and assign Inc. permissions to the groups. Option C. Use the Cloud Identity and Access Management API to create groups and Inc. permissions from Active Directory. Option D. Use the Admin SDK to create groups and assign Inc. permissions from Active Directory. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Set up Cloud Directory Sync to Sync groups and set Inc. permissions on the groups. Question 5. When creating a secure container image, Which 2 items should you incorporate into the build if possible? Choose 2. Option A. Ensure that the app does not run as PID1. Option B. Package a single app as a container. Option C. Remove any unnecessary tools not needed by the app. Option D. Use public container images as a base image for the app. Option E. Use many container image layers to hide sensitive information. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Package a single app as a container. Option C. Remove any unnecessary tools not needed by the app. Question 6. A customer needs to launch a 3-tier internal web application on Google Cloud Platform (GCP). The customer's internal compliance requirements dictate that end-user access may only be allowed if the traffic seems to originate from a specific known good. CIDR. The customer accepts the risk that their application will only have SYN flood DDoS protection. They want to use GCP's native SYN flood protection. Which product should be used to meet these requirements? Option A. Cloud Armor. Option B. VPC Firewall Rules. Option C. Cloud Identity and Access Management. Option D. Cloud CDN. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Cloud Armor. Question 7. A company is running workloads in a dedicated server room. They must only be accessed from within the private company network. You need to connect to these workloads from Compute Engine instances within a Google Cloud Platform project. Which 2 approaches can you take to meet the requirements? Choose 2. Option A. Configure the project with Cloud VPN. Option B. Configure the project with Shared VPC. Option C. Configure the project with Cloud Interconnect. Option D. Configure the project with VPC peering. Option E. Configure all Compute Engine instances with private access. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Configure the project with Cloud VPN. Option C. Configure the project with Cloud Interconnect. Question 8. A customer implements Cloud Identity Aware Proxy for their ERP system hosted on Compute Engine. Their security team wants to add a security layer so that the ERP systems only accept traffic from Cloud Identity Aware Proxy. What should the customer do to meet these requirements? Option A. Make sure that the ERP system can validate the JWT assertion in the HTTP requests. Option B. Make sure that the ERP system can validate the identity headers in the HTTP requests. Option C. Make sure that the ERP system can validate the X forwarded for headers in the HTTP requests. Option D. Make sure that the ERP system can validate the user's unique identifier headers in the HTTP requests. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Make sure that the ERP system can validate the JWT assertion in the HTTP requests. Question 9. A company has been running their application on Compute Engine. A bug in the application allowed a malicious user to repeatedly execute a script that results in the Compute Engine instance crashing. Although the bug has been fixed, you want to get notified in case this hack reoccurs. What should you do? Option A. Create an alerting policy in Stackdriver using a process health condition, checking that the number of executions of the script remains below the desired threshold. Enable notifications. Option B. Create an alerting policy in Stackdriver using the CPU usage metric. Set the threshold to 80% to be notified when the CPU usage goes above this 80%. Option C. Log every execution of the script to Stackdriver logging. Create a user-defined metric in Stackdriver logging on the logs. And create a Stackdriver dashboard displaying the metric. Option D. Log every execution of the script to Stackdriver logging. Configure BigQuery as a log sync. And create a BigQuery scheduled query to count the number of executions in a specific time frame. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Create an alerting policy in Stackdriver using a process health condition. Checking that the number of executions of the script remains below the desired threshold. Enable notifications. Question 10. Your team needs to obtain a unified log view of all development cloud projects in your team. The development projects are under the NONPROD organization folder with the test and pre-production projects. The development projects share the ABC billing account with the rest of the organization. Which logging export strategy should you use to meet the requirements? Option A. 1. Export logs to a cloud pub, subtopic with folders, NONPROD parent and include children property set to true in a dedicated theme. Project. 2. Subscribe theme to the topic. Option B. 1. Create a cloud storage sync with billing accounts, ABC billing parent and include children property set to false in a dedicated theme. Project. 2. Process cloud storage objects in theme. Option C. 1. Export logs in each dev project to a cloud pub, subtopic in a dedicated theme project. 2. Subscribe theme to the topic. Option D. 1. Create a cloud storage sync with a publicly shared cloud storage bucket in each project. 2. Process cloud storage objects in theme. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. 1. Export logs in each dev project to a cloud pub, subtopic in a dedicated theme project. 2. Subscribe theme to the topic. Question 11. A customer needs to prevent attackers from hijacking their domain, IP and redirecting users to a malicious site through a man-in-the-middle attack. Which solution should this customer use? Option A. VPC flow logs. Option B. Cloud Armor. Option C. DNS security extensions. Option D. Cloud Identity Aware Proxy. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. DNS security extensions. Question 12. A customer deploys an application to App Engine and needs to check for Open Web Application Security Project. OWASP. Vulnerabilities. Which service should be used to accomplish this? Option A. Cloud Armor. Option B. Google Cloud Audit Logs. Option C. Web Security Scanner. Option D. Anomaly Detection. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Web Security Scanner. Question 13. A customer's data science group wants to use Google Cloud Platform (GCP) for their analytics workloads. Company policy dictates that all data must be company-owned and all user authentications must go through their own security assertion markup language. SAML. 2. Zero Identity Provider (IDP). The Infrastructure Operations Systems engineer was trying to set up cloud identity for the customer and realized that their domain was already being used by G Suite. How should you best advise the systems engineer to proceed with the least disruption? Option A. Contact Google support and initiate the domain contestation process to use the domain name in your new cloud identity. Domain. Option B. Register a new domain name and use that for the new cloud identity domain. Option C. Ask Google to provision the data science manager's account as a super administrator in the existing domain. Option D. Ask customers management to discover any other uses of Google managed services and work with the existing super administrator. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option D. Ask customers management to discover any other uses of Google managed services and work with the existing super administrator. Question 14. A business unit at a multinational corporation signs up for GCP and starts moving workloads into GCP. The business unit creates a cloud identity domain with an organizational resource that has hundreds of projects. Your team becomes aware of this and wants to take over managing permissions and auditing the domain resources. Which type of access should your team grant to meet this requirement? Option A. Organization Administrator. Option B. Security Reviewer. Option C. Organization Role Administrator. Option D. Organization Policy Administrator. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Organization Administrator. Question 15. An application running on a compute engine instance needs to read data from a cloud storage bucket. Your team does not allow cloud storage buckets to be globally readable and wants to ensure the principle of least privilege. Which option meets the requirement of your team? Option A. Create a cloud storage ACL that allows read-only access from the compute engine instance's IP address and allows the application to read from the bucket without credentials. Option B. Use a service account with read-only access to the cloud storage bucket and store the credentials to the service account in the config of the application on the compute engine instance. Option C. Use a service account with read-only access to the cloud storage bucket to retrieve the credentials from the instance. Metadata. Option D. Encrypt the data in the cloud storage bucket using Cloud KMS and allow the application to decrypt the data with the KMS key. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Use a service account with read-only access to the cloud storage bucket to retrieve the credentials from the instance. Metadata. Question 16. An organization's typical network and security review consist of analyzing application transit routes, request handling, and firewall rules. They want to enable their developer teams to deploy new applications without the overhead of this full review. How should you advise this organization? Option A. Use Faucety with firewall filters to catch any unwanted configurations in production. Option B. Mandate use of infrastructure as code and provide static analysis in the CI/CD pipelines to enforce policies. Option C. Route all VPC traffic through customer-managed routers to detect malicious patterns in production. Option D. All production applications will run on premises. Allow developers free rein in GCP as their dev and CA platforms. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Mandate use of infrastructure as code and provide static analysis in the CI/CD pipelines to enforce policies. Question 17. An employer wants to track how bonus compensations have changed over time to identify employee outliers and correct earning disparities. This task must be performed without exposing the sensitive compensation data for any individual and must be reversible to identify the outlier. Which cloud data loss prevention API technique should you use to accomplish this? Option A. Generalization. Option B. Redaction. Option C. Crypto hash config. Option D. Crypto replace FFX-FPE config. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option D. Crypto replace FFX-FPE config. Question 18. An organization adopts Google Cloud Platform (GCP) for application hosting services and needs guidance on setting up password requirements for their cloud identity account. The organization has a password policy requirement that corporate employee passwords must have a minimum number of characters. Which cloud identity password guidelines can the organization use to inform their new requirements? Option A. Set the minimum length for passwords to be 8 characters. Option B. Set the minimum length for passwords to be 10 characters. Option C. Set the minimum length for passwords to be 12 characters. Option D. Set the minimum length for passwords to be 6 characters. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Set the minimum length for passwords to be 8 characters. Question 19. You need to follow Google recommended practices to leverage envelope encryption and encrypt data at the application layer. What should you do? Option A. Generate a data encryption key DEC locally to encrypt the data, and generate a new key encryption key CAKE in Cloud KMS to encrypt the DEC. Store both the encrypted data and the encrypted DEC. Option B. Generate a data encryption key DEC locally to encrypt the data, and generate a new key encryption key CAKE in Cloud KMS to encrypt the DEC. Store both the encrypted data and the KEK. Option C. Generate a new data encryption key DEC in Cloud KMS to encrypt the data, and generate a key encryption key CAKE locally to encrypt the key. Store both the encrypted data and the encrypted DEC. Option D. Generate a new data encryption key DEC in Cloud KMS to encrypt the data, and generate a key encryption key CAKE locally to encrypt the key. Store both the encrypted data and the KEK. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Generate a data encryption key DEC locally to encrypt the data, and generate a new key encryption key CAKE in Cloud KMS to encrypt the DEC. Store both the encrypted data and the encrypted DEC. Question 20. How should a customer reliably deliver Stackdriver logs from GCP to their on-premises SIEM system? Option A. Send all logs to the SIEM system via an existing protocol such as syslog. Option B. Configure every project to export all their logs to a common BigQuery dataset, which will be queried by the SIEM system. Option C. Configure organizational log syncs to export logs to a cloud pub subtopic, which will be sent to the SIEM via data flow. Option D. Build a connector for the SIEM to query for all logs in real time from the GCP RESTful JSON APIs. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Configure organizational log syncs to export logs to a cloud pub subtopic, which will be sent to the SIEM via data flow. Question 21. In order to meet PCI DSS requirements, a customer wants to ensure that all outbound traffic is authorized. Which two cloud offerings meet this requirement without additional compensating controls? Choose two. Option A. App Engine. Option B. Cloud Functions. Option C. Compute Engine. Option D. Google Kubernetes Engine. Option E. Cloud Storage. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Compute Engine. Option D. Google Kubernetes Engine. Question 22. A website design company recently migrated all customer sites to App Engine. Some sites are still in progress and should only be visible to customers and company employees from any location. Which solution will restrict access to the in-progress sites? Option A. Upload in htaccess file containing the customer and employee user accounts to App Engine. Option B. Create an App Engine firewall rule that allows access from the customer and employee networks and denies all other traffic. Option C. Enable Cloud Identity Aware Proxy (IAP) and allow access to a Google group that contains the customer and employee user accounts. Option D. Use Cloud VPN to create a VPN connection between the relevant on-premises networks and the company's GCP Virtual Private Cloud (VPC) network. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Enable Cloud Identity Aware Proxy (IAP) and allow access to a Google group that contains the customer and employee user accounts. Question 23. When working with agents in a support center via online chat, an organization's customers often share pictures of their documents with personally identifiable information. P. Analysis. Which Google Cloud solution should the organization use to help resolve this concern for the customer while still maintaining data? Utility. Option A. Use Cloud Key Management Service (KMS) to encrypt the P data shared by customers before storing it for analysis. Option B. Use Object Lifecycle Management to make sure that all chat records with P in them are discarded and not saved for analysis. Option C. Use the image inspection and redaction actions of the DLP API to redact P from the images before storing them for analysis. Option D. Use the generalization and bucketing actions of the DLP API solution to redact P from the texts before storing them for analysis. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Use the image inspection and redaction actions of the DLP API to redact P from the images before storing them for analysis. Question 24. A company's application is deployed with a user-managed service account key. You want to use Google recommended practices to rotate the key. What should you do? Option A. Open Cloud Shell and run G-Cloud Ing service accounts. Enable auto-rotate, ing account equals ing account. Option B. Open Cloud Shell and run G-Cloud Ing service accounts. Keys rotate, ing account equals ing account, key equals new key. Option C. Create a new key and use the new key in the application. Delete the old key from the service account. Option D. Create a new key and use the new key in the application. Store the old key on the system as a backup key. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Create a new key and use the new key in the application. Delete the old key from the service account. Question 25. Your team needs to configure their Google Cloud Platform (GCP) environment so they can centralize the control over networking resources like firewall rules, subnets, and routes. They also have an on-premises environment where resources need access back to the GCP resources through a private VPN connection. The networking resources will need to be controlled by the network security team. Which type of networking design should your team use to meet these requirements? Option A. Shared VPC network with a host project and service projects. Option B. Grant compute admin role to the networking team for each engineering project. Option C. VPC peering between all engineering projects using a hub and spoke model. Option D. Cloud VPN gateway between all engineering projects using a hub and spoke model. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A, shared VPC network with a host project and service projects. Question 26. An organization is migrating from their current on-premises productivity software systems to G Suite. Some network security controls were in place that were mandated by a regulatory body in their region for their previous on-premises system. The organization's risk team wants to ensure that network security controls are maintained and effective in G Suite. A security architect supporting this migration has been asked to ensure that network security controls are in place as part of the new shared responsibility model between the organization and Google Cloud. What solution would help meet the requirements? Option A. Ensure that firewall rules are in place to meet the required controls. Option B. Set up Cloud Armor to ensure that network security controls can be managed for G Suite. Option C. Network security is a built-in solution and Google's cloud responsibility for SaaS products like G Suite. Option D. Set up an array of virtual private cloud (VPC) networks to control network security as mandated by the relevant regulation. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Network security is a built-in solution and Google's cloud responsibility for SaaS products like G Suite. Question 27. A customer's company has multiple business units. Each business unit operates independently, and each has their own engineering group. Your team wants visibility into all projects created within the company and wants to organize their Google Cloud Platform (GCP) projects based on different business units. Each business unit also requires separate sets of permissions. Which strategy should you use to meet these needs? Option A. Create an organization node and assign folders for each business unit. Option B. Establish standalone projects for each business unit using Gmail.com accounts. Option C. Assign GCP resources in a project with a label identifying which business unit owns the resource. Option D. Assign GCP resources in a VPC for each business unit to separate network access. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Create an organization node and assign folders for each business unit. Question 28. A company has redundant mail servers in different Google Cloud Platform regions and wants to route customers to the nearest mail server based on location. How should the company accomplish this? Option A. Configure TCP proxy load balancing as a global load balancing service listening on port 995. Option B. Create a network load balancer to listen on TCP port 995 with a forwarding rule to forward traffic based on location. Option C. Use cross-region load balancing with an HTTPS load balancer to route traffic to the nearest region. Option D. Use Cloud CDN to route the mail traffic to the closest origin mail server based on client IP address. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Configure TCP proxy load balancing as a global load balancing service listening on port 995. Question 29. Your team sets up a shared VPC network where Project Co-VPC Prod is the host project. Your team has configured the firewall rules, subnets, and VPN gateway on the host project. They need to enable Engineering Group A to attach a Compute Engine instance to only the 10.1.1.0.24th subnet. What should your team grant to Engineering Group A to meet this requirement? Option A. Compute network user role at the host project level. Option B. Compute network user role at the subnet level. Option C. Compute shared VPC admin role at the host project level. Option D. Compute shared VPC admin role at the service project level. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Compute network user role at the subnet level. Question 30. A company migrated their entire data center to Google Cloud Platform. It is running thousands of instances across multiple projects managed by different departments. You want to have a historical record of what was running in Google Cloud Platform at any point in time. What should you do? Option A. Use Resource Manager on the organization level. Option B. Use Faucety Security to automate inventory snapshots. Option C. Use Stackdriver to create a dashboard across all projects. Option D. Use Security Command Center to view all assets across the organization. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Use Faucety Security to automate inventory snapshots. Question 31. An organization is starting to move its infrastructure from its on-premises environment to Google Cloud Platform, GCP. The first step the organization wants to take is to migrate its current data backup and disaster recovery solutions to GCP for later analysis. The organization's production environment will remain on premises for an indefinite time. The organization wants a scalable and cost-efficient solution. Which GCP solution should the organization use? Option A. BigQuery using a data pipeline job with continuous updates. Option B. Cloud storage using a scheduled task in G Suite. Option C. Compute engine virtual machines using persistent disk. Option D. Cloud data store using regularly scheduled batch upload jobs. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Cloud storage using a scheduled task in G Suite. Question 32. You are creating an internal App Engine application that needs to access a user's Google Drive on the user's behalf. Your company does not want to rely on the current user's credentials. It also wants to follow Google recommended practices. What should you do? Option A. Create a new service account and give all application users the role of service account user. Option B. Create a new service account and add all application users to a Google group. Give this group the role of service account user. Option C. Use a dedicated G Suite admin account and authenticate the application's operations with these G Suite credentials. Option D. Create a new service account and grant it G Suite domain-wide delegation. Have the application use it to impersonate the user. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. Create a new service account and grant it G Suite domain-wide delegation. Have the application use it to impersonate the user. Question 33. A customer wants to move their sensitive workloads to a compute engine-based cluster using managed instance groups. MIGs. The jobs are bursty and must be completed quickly. They have a requirement to be able to control the key lifecycle. Which boot disk encryption solution should you use on the cluster to meet this customer's requirements? Option A. Customer supplied encryption keys. CSEK. Option B. Customer managed encryption keys. CMEK. Using Cloud Key Management Service. KMS. Option C. Encryption by default. Option D. Pre-encrypting files before transferring to Google Cloud Platform. GCP. For analysis, choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Customer Managed Encryption Keys, CMEK, using Cloud Key Management Service, KMS. Question 34. Your company is using Cloud Dataproc for its Spark and Hadoop jobs. You want to be able to create, rotate, and destroy symmetric encryption keys used for the persistent disks used by Cloud Dataproc. Keys can be stored in the cloud. What should you do? Option A. Use the Cloud Key Management Service to manage the data encryption key. DEC. Option B. Use the Cloud Key Management Service to manage the key encryption key. CAKE. Option C. Use customer-supplied encryption keys to manage the data encryption key. DEC. Option D. Use customer-supplied encryption keys to manage the key encryption key. CAKE. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Use the Cloud Key Management Service to manage the key encryption key. CAKE. Question 35. You are a member of the security team at an organization. Your team has a single GCP project with credit card payment processing systems alongside web applications and data processing systems. You want to reduce the scope of systems subject to PCI audit standards. What should you do? Option A. Use multi-factor authentication for admin access to the web application. Option B. Use only applications certified compliant with PADSS. Option C. Move the cardholder data environment into a separate GCP project. Option D. Use VPN for all connections between your office and cloud environments. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Move the cardholder data environment into a separate GCP project. Question 36. A retail customer allows users to upload comments and product reviews. The customer needs to make sure the text does not include sensitive data before the comments or reviews are published. Which Google Cloud service should be used to achieve this? Option A. Cloud Key Management Service. Option B. Cloud Data Loss Prevention API. Option C. BigQuery. Option D. Web Security Scanner. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Cloud Data Loss Prevention API. Question 37. A company allows every employee to use Google Cloud Platform. Each department has a Google group, with all department members as group members. If a department member creates a new project, all members of that department should automatically have read-only access to all new project resources. Members of any other department should not have access to the project. You need to configure this behavior. What should you do to meet these requirements? Option A. Create a folder per department under the organization. For each department's folder, assign the project viewer role to the Google group related to that department. Option B. Create a folder per department under the organization. For each department's folder, assign the project browser role to the Google group related to that department. Option C. Create a project per department under the organization. For each department's project, assign the project viewer role to the Google group related to that department. Option D. Create a project per department under the organization. For each department's project, assign the project browser role to the Google group related to that department. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Create a folder per department under the organization. For each department's folder, assign the project viewer role to the Google group related to that department. Question 38. A customer's internal security team must manage its own encryption keys for encrypting data on cloud storage and decides to use customer-supplied encryption keys. CSEK. How should the team complete this task? Option A. Upload the encryption key to a cloud storage bucket, and then upload the object to the same bucket. Option B. Use the gsutil command line tool to upload the object to cloud storage, and specify the location of the encryption key. Option C. Generate an encryption key in the Google Cloud Platform console, and upload an object to cloud storage using the specified key. Option D. Encrypt the object, then use the gsutil command line tool or the Google Cloud Platform console to upload the object to cloud storage. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Use the gsutil command line tool to upload the object to cloud storage, and specify the location of the encryption key. Question 39. A customer has 300 engineers. The company wants to grant different levels of access and efficiently manage permissions between users in the development and production environment. Projects. Which two steps should the company take to meet these requirements? Choose 2. Option A. Create a project with multiple VPC networks for each environment. Option B. Create a folder for each development and production environment. Option C. Create a Google group for the engineering team, and assign permissions at the folder level. Option D. Create an organizational policy constraint for each folder environment. Option E. Create projects for each environment, and granting rights to each engineering user. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Create a folder for each development and production environment. Option C. Create a Google group for the engineering team, and assign permissions at the folder level. Question 40. You want to evaluate your organization's Google Cloud instance for PCI compliance. You need to identify Google's inherent controls. Which document should you review to find the information? Option A. Google Cloud Platform Customer Responsibility Matrix. Option B. PCI DSS Requirements and Security Assessment Procedures. Option C. PCI SSC Cloud Computing Guidelines. Option D. Product Documentation for Compute Engine. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Google Cloud Platform Customer Responsibility Matrix.